righty, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Walking the Crossroads podcast. Hello, Mr. Darren Bouquet.
Hello, bonjour, guten Nacht. How are you,
Good.
sir? Good?
I'm all right. Good stuff.
Okay, wonderful.
Good to see you, sir. Today we have a wonderful practitioner with us, a lady who teaches, who writes horror movies and magical tomes, directs music videos. It does a lot of things in the LA witchcraft scene. This is a person to know out there, and I'm glad to know her, Miss Scarlett Amaris. Welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much
Welcome.
for having me.
And you're a new
Indeed,
author,
indeed.
right? You're a new author as well.
Well, yeah, I have a book that I just finished the first draft of, but it's
Mhm.
coming out in the second half of 2027. And I'm
Wonderful.
actually just was working on the Oracle deck for it today too.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Wow. All right. So I'd love to know the theme of the Oracle deck and what's going on with this book. And the title is really intriguing to me. So I'm like
Yeah, the
very interested.
Pantheon.
Yeah.
I started. Was it it was probably like a year ago. You know, like
Mhm.
I've been doing teaching mythology for I don't even know how many years now. And
Mhm.
each time I come at it, I always try to add something more. Like I'm always trying to I don't want the same angle. Like I'm not interested
Yeah.
in that. Like I'm
Yeah.
always trying to uncover something else. And I think it was, like the last few years I've been getting more and more into Jungian psychology and
Okay.
really getting into dealing with the archetypes as well as the mythology.
Mhm.
And so I started to take a class which I had called The Deities and the Details and
Mhm.
started applying that lens a little more to the
If you don't mind, for my cousin Joey, can you say a little bit about Jung? Yeah, like Carl Jung. Like, could you say it?
Carl Jung was a psychologist, also a magical practitioner who was very interested in our inner lives and very interested in psychology kind of from a magical perspective and very interested in symbols and dreams, and kind of made this roadmap. Like if you've ever read the Liber Novus or the Red Book, like this roadmap into like how to map our inner psyche. And the longer that I'm in magic and like the longer that I've been practicing, that the more I start to really understand this idea of the maxim that's on the wall at Delphi, which is know thyself. And
Indeed.
if you don't know yourself inside, you're never going to know yourself outside, and the more that you can incorporate Jung's work and the more that like you start to build this relationship with what I call the inner terrain, a better practitioner that you are. And, like the more, a better creative you are. I use this a lot in my creative work. So I started to...
I had a Chewini named Delphi.
A what?
I had a Chewini named Delphi. A little dog. Yeah. Yeah. Her name was Delphi for that whole thing we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, I was like, I started to look more at the chthonic gods and wanting to view them through this lens of sovereignty. And so I started adding a more psychological kind of lens into these, into what I was teaching, and then guided visualizations at the end, incorporating not just like going to have, like a meeting or an introduction, that's a better word, with the deity, but also like incorporating the psychological integration elements as well. And so I had an opportunity like a couple of months ago with a big name publisher who was like, pitch us something. And I was like, well, what about this?
Do it. Please do it, because I've had 3 opportunities where people are like, just write something and we'll do it, and then that guy passed away or this happened. I'm like, I say go for it, man. Go for it.
I signed the contract. I already turned in the first draft. It's 27 goddess, like dark goddesses. I hate that term dark goddess because it's really
I do too. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of the polarization of energy in general.
Yeah,
it's annoying.
I would say that they are underworld goddesses, and it's very nice that I was able to kind of like weave my own story and how I came to this work within the story, which I think gives it a little more resonance. But it's, you know, it's talking about the sovereignty of grief and the sovereignty of other and the sovereignty of exile and the sovereignty of um, transgression and the sovereign, you know, like it's talking about all these things that are a little bit. I like I said, I guess it would be Dark Odyssey, but they really wanted.
Well,
me
it's
to.
like there's an element of shadow work,
Oh,
you
cool.
know, an element of like dealing with the harder parts of life and how you get through them, how you come out the other side,
Yes.
and you know how it gives you something, not necessarily take something away to go through that experience.
No, and
You know, so that there's value in it. You know, yeah.
Absolutely, it's necessary. It's one of the most necessary things we'll ever do. Like we have to descend and come back again, especially as creators. Like that's what we're supposed to do. And so I talk about how you cannot be the architect of your own life. You cannot be the architect of your own work. You cannot be the hero of your own journey if you do not do this, you know, do this kind of journey. Like that's just the truth of it. And so, and then talking about integration and trying to also keep that magical as well. So that's what the book's
indeed.
about.
Yeah.
So
Well,
the Forbidden Pantheon is all the chthonic, but divine feminine divinity forms is what we're talking
So the
about.
first book is going to be all goddesses because that's what they want, and then I'm hoping we've talked about doing book 2, which then would be the gods.
Now that's cool because then you bring, you know, all the Hades and all the other homies into the mix. Osiris, all the death gods, or Anubis, or you know.
I just did Hades, Osiris, Anubis, Pan, Baphomet, Lucifer, like, and that's like I love that series. Like that's been part of I have the Forbidden Pantheon. I have a online esoteric salon every Saturday morning at 10:30. And
that's the Zoom one, right?
Yeah, that's the Zoom.
The Zoom one. We're gonna leave that information in the comments. And give everybody ways to connect with you.
Is everyone welcome to that, or is that like a girls' club group?
No, everyone is welcome.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. Cool. I might pop in one Saturday. That sounds good.
We do like 45 minutes of looking at, you know, whatever deity that we're with, and you know, talking about the mythology, but also talking about the psychology. And then
so for example, who's coming up like in an upcoming Saturday? Who do you got on your roster?
So tomorrow it's not because it's 4th of July, but next Saturday I'm doing Baphomet, which is my most convoluted. Like no matter how hard I try, because it's the last of this series, because Baphomet is integration, right? It's integration.
Yeah.
And
that's the whole thing. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No matter how hard I try not to make it complicated, it is.
Sure. Well, I mean, I tell people all the time because at Marie Laveau's, when they go into a certain part of the floor and I say, look up, hanging up there is a Baphomet statue, like 30, 40 feet above them. And they're like, whoa. And then to actually explain the symbolism, because I tell people it's not actually a thing. It's a symbolic rendering of a bunch of different consciousness and ways of understanding the occult map of illuminating work. You know, the great work.
It's a nexus.
Right? So,
it's a nexus. Yeah.
And that's
it's difficult.
We talk about in the beginning is Baphomet a god? Because Baphomet originally was a glyph of magic. And the idea of a Baphomet head is a totally different thing. You know, the Templars had is much different than, you know, what we think of Baphomet as today. And Baphomet is a glyph of magic. But I actually really enjoy this class because they like talking about polarity. I find that very interesting because that's something that you need as a creative as well, but also because people have so much kind of stigma attached to it, and it's fun to break down what it actually is when you look past the alarming kind of associations. Yeah,
indeed.
That was fun.
All right, we just learned from one of our other guests that the sigil that used for Lilith is only like 50 years old or something like that.
That's right. Yeah. It's like a new
That
creation.
was like a surprise. I'm like, what? Because I've been seeing that all over the place, you know, and you know, because it's her veneration. That whole thing has been something that's kind of a neo-pagan thing, and I'm like, or a neo, you know, practice. Yeah, so
Yeah,
That was
and
pretty fascinating.
actually, I think that really came about with Luciferian, with the rise of Luciferian witchcraft. Where,
Luciferianism, yeah.
well, you have, where Lucifer is like the horned father, and Lilith is the mother of the witches, and I think
Indeed.
that
Sure, yeah.
sigil came out of that. But I mean, it's kind of the same way that everybody thinks that Hecate is the mother, maiden, and crone, and that's absolutely not true. That was a
No.
concept of a puppet,
Oh.
about
Right.
what, 100 years ago, maybe not even. Like,
Right.
her triplicity has nothing to do with that, and yet
No, it doesn't. Yeah, thank you for saying that. So, can we, like, for anyone that's like paying attention, the triple goddess and the ideologies behind that are not linked in to the triple aspect of the goddess Hecate. Okay, it's a totally, they're similar, but they are not connected.
no,
So
I mean,
just yeah,
Hecate has a triple aspect because she's
yeah,
the guardian of the crossroads, and the crossroads are the gateways to the underworld, and she sees in all directions at once. So her
Sure.
So does Odin. So does the Norns. So do, I mean, yeah, dude. I mean,
Well, yeah,
hello.
you're looking at someone who's grabbing down into the underworld, reaching up into the stars, and is there with you in the moment. So that's the triple aspect, really.
Yes.
It's as above, so below, and where that meets.
Yeah.
And she's that crossroads. So it's more of a magical thing to me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and she just, it was who was it? Was it Robert? Was it? The name has escaped me. It's really bad. But he was the one that she was written about as the crone, and he was taking, it was like applying her to an agricultural myth, and that really got cemented into, like, Wicca was forming at that same time, and Wicca really glommed into that. But it has nothing to do with her historical aspect whatsoever, and her triplicity is much stronger than just being this crone aspect of, the dark moon or the small sliver of the moon. Like, she's
that's, I mean, honestly, that is so much of the imagery. I mean, even behind Darren, it's the idea of us poking fun at that, is that's the image of a witch. When you look up witch on Google, it shows you a bunch of things from Halloween, obviously, but also like old crone looking women. It's always that image. And it's always like it's not like a positive looking person. It's always like some kind of like, coming at you. And it's like,
well, and then there's power behind that image as well. So there's the respect behind it, but there's the fear as well. Like the Baba Yaga. You don't think of the Baba Yaga in a, but you also have like a massive amount of respect / fear for the Baba Yaga, and that's
sure.
Well, yeah, because she'll eat you with her iron teeth.
That's rough. Yeah, you don't really want to approach her in the forest late at night.
And if you can't say the magic words, you can't get in the hut. I was just writing about her, and that's been like the fun thing about this book.
I was going to ask you, if you, we're going to
writing about Baba Yaga and the Kiliak and Rangda and like kind of like the Medusa, the monstrous feminine and the old feminine. But like once you get past the image to what they represent, like it's so beautiful.
So the Kelly, did you say the Keliak, or I would always say the Kalake, but it's the Keliak?
Well, I heard it as the Kiliak. So
the Keliak, okay.
Yeah, nice. I've also heard the Kalish, so I think it's when I was in Scotland, they said Keliak, so I'm not.
I'm with you. Are you in
like
Glasgow? That's what they say. I'm with you. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
But I'd love to learn more about her. I would definitely read that chapter for sure, dude.
Well,
that would be.
Well, she isn't just. I mean, she isn't just winter. She's the land itself. Like she is the archetype of that which remains no matter what, no matter how many winters you've seen, no matter what you've endured, she's seen them all. Like you cannot displace her.
That's like the firmament. That's Gaia. That's the earth plane. You can't mess with that energy. It's before and after you till it. They can still feel it.
And that's why in Scotland, all of those mountains come back to her because she's every single one. And they know that when they walk through the glens and through the valleys of those mountains, that they're walking on her.
Indeed.
Do you have some Scottish blood yourself? Or?
Possibly. I'm not.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
We're not 100% sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So now listen, for the audience that doesn't know you, because I know you're I mean, 4 hours in, you could be talking about something amazing and we'd be in here. Um,
Mhm.
where are you from? How did you come to the craft? And what was your
Yeah,
early life
yeah,
like? We like to know the magical origin story of people that talk on here because it's
yeah.
good to give people the
Mhm.
sense that anyone can find their way to these paths. And this is a way that it happens. So just tell us a little bit about your early life.
I grew up out in the desert. I grew up on a horse ranch, a very, very, very large horse ranch. And
Mhm.
so I was really very lucky and unlucky in some ways because I didn't really have friends, but I had lots of animals. So I got to develop a relationship not only with horses and animals, but also
Mhm.
this was not the time how it is today. This was like when we had those, it's 10 o'clock, do you know where your kids are? So we would go, I could go ride 20 miles, like way out into the desert. And I just had to be back, and not be dead by dark. And so I got to develop a relationship with nature and kind of wild nature that I think I
Mhm.
probably wouldn't be able to do today. And some of my earliest memories are like picking up pebbles and picking up things and like putting rings around things and thinking something needs
Sure.
protection and like I was that kid. And so um when I was 14, we left California and we went to suburban Illinois, and I was incredibly angry about that move.
Mhm.
Sure.
Just because I had never dealt with like a weird, preppy small town. It was very uptight, but it had this library. And so it was also the first time I'd ever dealt with intense cold. And so all
Sure.
winter, I was in this library, and I don't know who stocked this library, but it was like Aleister Crowley and Una Woodruff's Witches and the Clavicles of
Wow.
Solomon, and all these magical books are in this library. So 14-year-old me is sitting in front of the fire for the whole winter reading book after book after book after book, which I had no business probably reading those books so young, but that really kind of sent me down the path.
Sure. Sure.
So,
No,
so
that
you're
makes
being
sense.
initiated by nature, and then you're being initiated by some of the masters of the time that we had access to at that point in
Yep.
That might be
history.
the right way to do it, my friends. That might be the right way to start.
Right, right.
Just let nature fill you with that and then go somewhere and read about people talking about it, and then it can all make sense to you, and then you can work with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Right.
Yeah.
then when I was, like, I must have been in my mid 30s, I was traveling a lot to Europe, and I met somebody who had a lot of the same, like I've always had a very like interest in Gnosticism, and I've always been interested in mythology and different magical systems. And so I started traveling to Europe a lot and got involved in a lot of like the alchemical mysteries and decoding old churches and going to these different mystery spots in France. And I finally moved to France, to Montsegur, which was where the last stand of the Cathars was. But
Right.
when I was there, I was also getting the old stories from the villagers of the old
Mhm.
mythologies that would have been lost and putting them back into the English language. And I was tracking down like the old hidden places, like the old Celtic oppidums, and so
Wow.
like I kind of transitioned from being a part of like different magical groups and reading about magic and doing magic to like really pursuing the supernatural and pursuing magic full time and writing about it full time and writing
So
about it in
when you
screenplay.
say pursuing magic,
Well, living a magical life.
oh,
So I would say
okay, right.
like I incorporate. I think I incorporate a magical life. Like like I live through dreams and
So,
symbology.
so you mean literally going into the wardrobe, meeting Mr. Tumnus, and just following him in the woods and say, let's get it, let's go.
Yeah, I hate to be. I feel like there should be a caution there.
Okay, all right. Maybe we don't use that person as a okay, but you get my. I mean, just for the layman that's listening to this, like just or following the white rabbit and just okay, let's do it. Let's go.
I definitely went down the rabbit hole, and I've never come back from that. You know, like I think there was a point where I made the conscious decision that I want a magical life, and I've had it. It doesn't mean that I've had an easy life. It doesn't mean I've had a particularly charmed life.
So, are you letting synchronicity just show you the way then, kind of, or like leave breadcrumbs? Okay, I get that.
But I work a lot from, you know, like as a screenwriter, I work a lot from images and dreams. But, you know, the first thing I do when I wake up is I have extensive dream journals. So I prefer to work in these kinds of ways. I have the different deities that I work with. Like I like to have magic swirling around me as much as I can. I think that it's absolutely conducive to the creative process. Like if you're a creator, this is what you have to have.
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, I didn't. Go ahead. I'm sorry, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying that I think that, especially if you're a creative that works in any kind of spiritual realm, you can't control what's going to come through, but you can kind of control the fact that you're open to it happening. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're setting yourself up to be a trance channeler, to be a conduit for the spirits, that's your job. Yeah. The job is also letting it come through in a free way that you're not trying to control, so you're in the flow and like following synchronicities, like being in the flow. Like my wife and I say, like not go with the flow, but flow with the go. You know what I'm saying? Like whatever is just, you're kind of in the flow and you're not judging it. You're not trying to be in front of it. You're trying to just be on the ride. And I think sometimes that's hard to find in the magical life when you're trying to control everything. Like I think a lot of younger witches are so concerned with power and control and being scared, you know. Like I think
they're also very invested in outcome, and I find that that's when things get really messed up. You know, like you have to be invested in the act itself. So like, you know,
I must try to explain that like 5 times a week to people. Like seriously, like I just you know,
because
like you can't ask me how the turkey's gonna taste when you put the turkey in the oven. Absolutely. You just gotta wait for it to cook, and then you'll know how it tastes. And it, you know, it is probably gonna taste awesome, but you can't taste it while it's cooking. You know, because then we get salmonella. You know, like so. There's that.
Indeed.
And you know, like I love the flow of it, but like I also like I have a real Saturnian nature where I will sit down and do all the work. You know, like that's not the problem, but you have to be invested in the process of it and in the magic of the process of it. Like that's how it, if you're so like in the I want this, I'm going to manifest this, and I'm going to, you know, like that's where it gets really messed up. That's where you lose all of everything that you're doing.
Well, if you have a divinity form involved with you, if you have a god or a, you know, an elemental or what, but you have to have some humility in the face of divinity to some degree. I mean, you're asking, hey, can you help me with this? You're not demanding. And if you're talking to a proxy, let's say, like, for example, me or you or whoever, and they're talking to the, you know, you're still not running up to, say, I don't, you know like Artemis and saying, hey, Artemis, hurry the hell up and let's giddy up. You know, like I really want to, you know, pay off my RV or something. You know, like that's. She's not going to.
You want to commune. You want to commune. You don't want to command. Exactly. And that's the way I look at it.
Also, what are you going to give them back? Why should they just give you something? Like,
what are
you going to do? What are you going to do with it? How are you going to give back? Like,
or you know what I like to say? If you walked up to someone on the street and you didn't know them and you said, hey, can I borrow $50? The odds of you having a good reaction are very low. So you build up, like you say hello and maybe get to know them and take them out to coffee and maybe 2 or 3 or 5 times. And then maybe you could ask them for $50, you know, like, I don't know. I mean,
and maybe
it's a relationship.
Yeah. But also explain to them like why you need it, but what you're going to give back if you get it.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be reciprocal. Like I think that's something that people really get wrong all the time. It's like, I
Sure.
want this and I want that. And magic is not a cosmic cash machine. Like, that's not what I'm
Mhm.
talking about in magical life. Like, yes, I've had success, but I work incredibly hard for it. But I'm talking about the magic of getting up and like working from dreams and working from synchronicities and knowing that magic is all around and knowing that you have boundless opportunity regardless of whether you see it or not. That
Indeed.
the material world is not as much of an ironclad prison as we think.
Yeah. It gets wavy gravy for sure.
And
It
we have
does.
a lot more control is the wrong word.
We're co-writing it. You know what I'm saying? We have waves of potential inside of us that we can
That
manifest
that's where
with
I
the show.
struggle and I vacillate between, am I co-writing too much or am I letting divinity
Right.
talk to me? Like
we
I'm talking to this guy and I'm driving along and then all this thunder and lightning's happening, then the rain didn't but I'm like, oh, I got to go talk to Chongo
Right.
because he's obviously, I haven't talked to him in a while, and he's like over there. So I come home, but before we get on, I'm like, I'm gonna put on Cape Fear for a minute. The minute Javier Bardem shows up, and he in this episode, he's like getting crowned with Chongo. He's screaming
Yeah.
like "Fuego in the boca, fuego in the boca," and he's like, "You are a son of Chongo." I'm like, all right, I gotta go give him something right
Right.
now. Like, yeah, it's
And
like
that's the
you
flow.
can't.
That's the flow.
That's it, dude.
Right.
That's it.
And that's what we mean by
Right.
magical light, is that
Right.
we are just staying aware of
Yeah.
the mysteries and of them unfolding in front of us. When you notice
Right.
them and you pay attention to them, they start to interact with you.
Yeah.
And the mysteries become a part of who you are. And like
Mhm.
that's the whole thing that I've always done with my work, is that I know that I can help someone. I know that the spirits will come through because
Mhm.
I'm not asking them to do it for me. I'm just saying I'm a conduit for this other person. Let's roll here. And that experience is so like it's like what people think they're looking for in this stuff. They think they're looking for like this moment where they feel like this greatness, like this power of themselves, and like sometimes the greatest moments are when you're like helping someone else
Oh yeah.
and they're glowing. When you see them glow because of what you are just like allowing through you, that's much more satisfying than experiencing it sometimes even for yourself. And it's I think a lot of people miss that too, because we're all helpers. But for people first getting into the craft, they're not looking to be helpers. They're looking to have like weapons. They want weapons.
Yeah, I think they want
And
weapons and
sometimes that's dangerous.
they want proof. And it's like when you connect into things and you start to notice what is around you and you start to realize that you are the architect, you create the world around you, like you absolutely do, then you don't that quest for power and that quest for proof, you don't need it anymore because you know it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just
I mean,
happens
it's great.
ephemerally around you. It just
Well,
happens,
I find that that's the difference between somebody who either has a natural predilection for magic or has been in it a
Sure.
long time.
Right.
And then it becomes second nature. Like you don't think about it anymore until somebody brings it to your attention and you go, well, doesn't everyone do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
When my
everyone
wife and I
doesn't do
talk,
that.
like,
People
it's
are
so
feared
crazy.
with like phobias and insecurities and doubts and
Sure.
stuff. And I'm like, if I don't like something, I'll just talk to hella about it or a blah da da blah. Like I don't need it. If I don't like something, let's change it. But it's not that easy for other people. And I get that. I try to have to remind myself, like, oh yeah, like, I'm rolling with the squad. I'm
Well,
rolling.
yeah. Okay.
I'm rolling
On
with the
the
squad.
subject,
Like
to
that's
to
and
do
that's
a
comforting.
well, sure, and to do a smooth
Yeah.
segue, talking about magical power,
Mhm.
you have something coming up called the Joshua Tree Retreat,
Mhm.
Sovereign Crown,
Yeah.
the Sowen Initiation for Magical Power. That kind of event is something that we should be doing like every month, like community wide, like in every city. And I don't know what humans have forgotten
Yeah.
about the power we have communally in groups to channel and to become
Mhm.
so many things. I don't understand why we forgot, but just on that note, could you tell us a little bit about the retreat you guys do?
Of course. Yeah, Tonalisa's put this together, and it's really interesting that she would get, like I'm more the witch and from the witchcraft background, but I'm more the mythology and psychology part of this idea of sovereignty. And we're going to be working with Lilith and Hecate and Diana for my part for these 3 days. But then we have Naha coming in from 22 Teachings, and she's a ceremonial magician. And then we've got Ashley, and Ashley is an ordained priestess. And so you've got like these 3 different lineages coming together, but we're all working toward the same thing. And it was amazing when I went. I knew Ashley already, but I didn't know Naha. And when we all met, like immediately super comfortable with each other, like laughing like we'd been friends forever, like coming up with cool stuff, and everybody's, you know, like it wasn't like people trying to one up each other. It's like people that are comfortable enough.
There you go. Yes.
That matters.
Yeah.
So beautiful.
So we were just coming up with the most amazing stuff. And I was like, we're being out in Joshua Tree, which is just astounding as it is. Like
gorgeous, yeah.
I can't wait for this weekend. This weekend, I mean, it's going to be transformational. Like there's no way that it's not. And I'm not a huge astrology person, but it was really funny when we were like looking at each other's signs, how like my rising sign is one's moon and her like sign is the other's moon, and like and we're all one element. Like one of us is water and one of us is earth. Like the way that it was kept connecting back to these triangles, I was like, now this is what I'm talking about. Magic. We don't know each other. We were put together randomly, but it's not random.
Yeah, it's random but not random. It's like
creating together, and because we're coming and creating something new, because we have these 3 very distinct points of view. Like I can't wait to see what we come up with. Like I live for this kind of thing because I love creating community and I love creating transformational experience, and it's going to be great. And I agree with you. It's right. Like, why don't we do more of this?
I don't understand that personally. I mean, I don't have much of a community in New Orleans because there's a lot of witch wars and everybody's like kind of doing their own thing. And I've never, I mean, at Marie's, we don't care what everyone else is doing because we're Marie Laveau. So we're just kind of so busy being us that we're not asking for help, and we're not asking for anyone to connect with to get business. Like we're just, you know what I mean? Like I've never had that experience there. So I don't really know what it's like to be something else there. But, what would you say the LA scene is like? Because I've had a bit of it myself as an adult, but I've lived mostly here because, of course, I know you and Sal and Popey from Crooked Path. Hi, Sal and Popey from Crooked Path. You know, I love that store. Greatest store in LA. But what's the witchcraft scene there like? And what do you guys get up to?
It's really interesting. You know, it's the thing is, LA is so enormous. Like, it's such an enormous city that it's such a hodgepodge of different things. And that's kind of what I love about it is, you know, like I've got the Gnostic Church up the street and the Philosophic Research Society down the street. And like, and yet I've got, you know, my Burbank witches. And I think there's something for anything that you're looking for here. I also think like kind of when you find your tribe here, we don't have the witch wars that we have little minor skirmishes.
Right. Sure.
I don't get, you know, like I'm so in the entertainment business and whatever else that I don't really get involved in that. But I hear about the witch wars in Louisiana, in New Orleans all the time. Like I'm actually because we have mutual friends, I'm privy to some of the stuff that goes down.
Sure.
I'm always
if you hear about it where you're at, can you imagine what's going on like on the ground? Like
it's just
that's what I'm saying.
Don't know, man. Yeah.
When I got offered that, oh, hey, just write anything and we'll publish it. It was like, that was in the middle of one of those things. And I was like, I don't know what's going on. Like opening portals up on top of someone's business, like crazy stuff. Yeah. So,
I don't know.
I just don't get involved. I don't stick a toe into that whole situation.
I just find that, you know, and if somebody is misbehaving or whatever, LA's so big, they just get swallowed up. It's kind of like, you'll find who you need to find. And, you know, I was saying this in another podcast for a different reason, but like LA has this layer to it of like, all these people want to be famous and they come because they want to be famous. But if you get past that, LA has some of the best creatives that I've ever worked with anywhere, hands down.
Yeah.
This is where the business is. And magically,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. There's a lot of like surface, like glamour witches and TikTok witches and whatever.
Sure.
If you
Mm-hmm.
get below
Sure.
that, there's a lot of really good, real practitioners out here
I
as
think
well.
Well,
people need
hey,
to know
listen,
that.
There's
People need to
I
know that
walked
for
in.
sure.
Look, I walked into Crooked Path when I moved back there. My wife and I and my kid moved back there because we were coming back to LA, seeing what was going
Mm-hmm.
on, and we were trying to sell our stuff. You know what I'm saying? I was like, where do I go? What do I do? Because I already had stuff at Marie's, but I wanted to do something in LA. I just happened to see Crooked Path on my phone. I walked in there and I met Sal. We literally talked for 3 hours. I gave him a Hecate necklace. He showed me his Ogun and Elegua stuff. Like we were just his Eshu, his wild Eshu. You know, like that's where I knew, because I didn't know a lot of real people before, because I'd been to Psychic Eye. They're all right. Like they're homies of mine or whatever, a little bit, but they're not like, you know what I'm saying? Because I'd been at
family.
Marie's, I've been in like real, you know, and then I went into Crooked and I was like, Sal, that's, you know, this is a real dude right here. Like we just
Yeah.
had, so I knew there was real witches in LA once I met him, and then I met you and everyone else over there. Yeah. So
I
I've
mean,
never doubted that for a second.
I had the same thing when I like crash landed here from Europe. I didn't really know anyone in the scene, and I met some people at another store, and it was like it just was so like bland that I was a little like, huh, I'm
Right.
surprised that like it's. And I had just come from somewhere that it was so like spiritually
Right.
insane that it just was like it has to be more. And then I saw like an occult apothecary was opening up, and I was like, oh, that's weird. And then I walked in, and within like I would say 20 minutes of talking to Sal, because this is like at the old store when it had just first
Mm-hmm.
opened.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember. I remember.
Sal was like, do you want to teach here? Like, we need you to teach here.
Indeed. Yeah. I
That's
know.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
I was walking up and down Melrose trying to find a job, which is silly of me at the time, and I walked into Necrophagia, and I'm like, this is a store just about death. Like we're about death and just like death stuff. I'm like, where? How does this even exist? Like it's just
Yeah.
so, and you just the pockets of creativity and culture, and it's just like blew my mind. I was so
Yeah. People don't
impressed,
expect that
very
from LA.
impressed.
They think everything's cheesy there, but there's some real
No, no,
dope, groovy witches all over the
yeah, man.
place that are doing real shit. Like it's real,
Mm-hmm.
you
And
know?
it's
Mm-hmm.
real.
So
And
anyone who thinks that, like, no.
what people don't get too is like I live in a historically old building, and I'm right at the
Mm-hmm.
base of the Hollywood Hills and right at the base of Beechwood. But
Mm-hmm.
you had the Theosophists and the Gnostic Eglise who was here at the beginning of when Hollywood it's Hollywood land. They
Right.
came and chose this area because
Indeed.
this area was spiritually sacred to them, because they knew that there were magical currents in this area. Like they didn't just
A theosophist said
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
it's
wow.
Hollywood. It's from the holly tree.
They
Yeah.
have Bazant Lodge up here. They
Oh
have Kotoa.
Yeah.
They built a whole bunch of their things on the hillside up here because these were
Yep.
magical.
right before the Black Dahlia happened, like right
A
around that
little bit
time.
before that, yeah. But
Yeah, yeah,
Indeed.
okay.
Yeah.
this was
Wow.
a magical area. These are magical spots in
Mm-hmm.
the area, and it's absolutely still true.
Oh yeah. I grew up tripping and having magical experiences up in Mulholland for
Oh yeah.
anyone else. But yeah, you know, going to Tree People, going to Franklin Canyon, just going in and out of the haunts and just just getting out there and in there. There's so much going on in LA that's so magical. It's a really mystical place. If you're in that frequency,
Exactly. Yeah.
it is absolutely
I,
alive with
I
magic.
had a
And
couple
then
of
I
really
came here
crazy
and it's also the
nights
same.
at
Yeah.
Hollywood Forever, like more than once.
Yeah.
Like I felt like there was definitely some crazy, like, interdimensional stuff going on there. I don't know. Have you had anything like that there, Scarlett? Or
You know what? I haven't spent that much. I've only been over there a few times, and that's usually
Mhm.
like for the movie stuff. So I haven't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
yeah, that's definitely some Nexus stuff going on
Yeah,
there.
I was like, it's right. I mean, it's funny. The building that I'm in, which will be 100 soon,
Um,
it's notoriously haunted, and the Tower of Terror is based off of it. And like,
Right.
oh, right, right.
I actually, in fact, here's my my night vision camera that I got working again.
Okay. All
Nice.
right.
Nice.
Okay.
so that I can start
Nice.
documenting some stuff here.
Yeah, man. Do some spirit photography and stuff,
Yeah.
man.
That would actually
I
be a
have
really
played a
cool thing
bit
to
from
talk
people
about.
that have sent stuff to me for when I have to go and do a clearing or something, but just like we can't deny this anymore. Like, please come help. Like it's
Oh yeah,
crazy.
I've done a
Yeah.
lot of that too. I used to do that with
Yeah,
Paul all the time. Like, we're
yeah.
having lots of problems. Can you guys come in here? I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, I'll come and say this is what's going on, and you probably need to do something about it. And they're like, we don't want to spend the money, and I'm like, all right. And then they call me like 2 months later,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and here's a video from my children's room or so, like, and that's
Yeah.
like, okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
well, yeah, you might want to maybe, yeah, you might need some help there, buddy. So we can look forward to the Forbidden Pantheon and maybe a look into some of the more underworld goddesses and how to. Do you go into how to venerate them and everything, or just it's more about like who they are?
You do guided visualizations where they actually speak to the practitioner live in the workshop,
I
right?
do that in the workshop. Yeah, absolutely.
Right. Mhm.
In the book, it's a little bit like who they are, psychologically who they are, like the sovereignty that they stand for.
From the
Yeah.
Jungian side of it, yeah.
Yeah, then I have like a working that you can do with them, but because I'm working,
Nice.
because some of them
Nice.
are
Good.
from like traditions that I don't work with, I don't want to step on toes. So most of the workings are psychologically based. Do you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Because I've got Pompadour in there, and I've got
Oh yeah. Oh.
you know what I'm saying. And I don't work, and Kali and Sedna and some things that are part of other people's living traditions, and they are very specific, and I am not initiated, and so I'm very clear in saying.
So go from the Jungian aspect.
Yeah,
And go that way. Yeah.
I'll be very interested to read the Pombajira chapter myself, because I sit with her statues all over the store. We just got a ton of them in from Brazil, and it's vibey.
Yeah,
it's vibey with Pombajira.
I tell the story like somebody gave me a statue of her from Brazil of Pompadour of the Seven Crossroads, and she could not have come from a more poisonous person, but at a more opportune time. Like it was really, really, and she just like, I am not initiated in that, in Candomblé or any of that, but I have great reverence for her. And I did like, give her roses with the thorns cut off, and left rolled cigarettes for her, and left, champagne for her. And I did ask for her help, and she did answer. But yeah, I try, and so I weave some of my own story in there, but I also try to be very clear about, like I don't want to step on the toes of people who this is their living tradition, but I want to give people an introduction. So there are rituals, and then I talk about the shadow side of working with the archetype too.
Sure.
So
can I say that I had a very similar interaction with her, and I kind of stuck a toe in the pool, and I was told by an ex that like we can't add another altar in the living room, and I said okay, I can, and she was fine with where I stopped and just let it be, you know what I mean, like, and she's cool with that, you know what I mean. It was very, very pleasant, but massive, immense energy, immense. Yeah,
it's a very powerful. It's like the Morrigan, where it's not just one,
right?
It's a legion
yeah.
of spirit statues and Pombagiras. It's a massive electrical current system of spirit forces.
A lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot, but it's really it's some of those mysteries. I think one of the things about our show, Walking the Crossroads, is that we like to find the place where we all meet and where we can all be family and experience each other's traditions without judgment or without needing to gatekeep. So that's kind of
keep it respectful though. Like,
like I want to know who you are and what spirits you're channeling, because it's the same energy. What do you call it? So we're trying to get there.
It's the
same reason
though, with like the living traditions, like I talk about
Right.
Maya and Yamaya, but I'm very careful, like
Sure.
if you want to know more, that you should go to where their traditions are, and you should go learn from their practitioners, because
Indeed. That's fair. That's fair. I think the introduction is definitely something that anyone can have, and it doesn't matter where you're from. And I think that's why introducing spirits like this to people is great. And that's one of the reasons we do that for sure. So
now
to
if I want to visit with you guys on a Saturday for your session, what's that like? Like what happens for that?
Usually we start at 10:30.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the Crooked Path, get a ticket, and then we start at 10:30, and we usually go to like noon. And so it'll be like, I don't know, 45 minutes of me like talking about the mythology, the history, psychology, the archetypes, you know, like with kind of a sovereign lens. And then we will incorporate that all into a 15-20 minute. I've been making all these new guided visualizations where you don't, you know, usually like you go on a little journey and you have a meeting with the deity, and then they tell you something, and then you go back. And now I've been really playing with like, you start in one place and you don't go back to where you started from, or you go through and you, like we did the one with Osiris where you became like part of his spine, and you became all of these pieces of him that were lost, you know. And so you have to be like,
we have so much in common. I just did this for Demeter, Freya, and Oshun, and I did all three. And so I had my whole group there. And by the time we got to Freya, they were like, dude, I'm like, it's a lot. Because you will be, you know, you'll live there. You'll be there. You know, you'll be on a boat in the river, like going like this, you know, like all the things. And it's beautiful. And it's beautiful, but it's powerful. That's great. That's great.
So we do
all right, so
20 minutes of that, and then, you know, like we talk about it, and
cool.
Yeah. And so you finish it with an experience with the spirit. It's not just talking about it. And I think that's dope. We're going to leave all of the notes for Crooked Path as well, like ways to get to them. We'll deal with all of that later. To cap on this, I just want to thank you for talking to us about your journey and about your
really, it was a pleasure.
Life. Thanks. I know there's probably like 5 other subjects we could do the same. I would love to do.
I could ramble with you all night, dude. Oh my god.
No, this is just just to, you know, to keep it 100, like this is a great conversation and I want to have more of those. We'll have all of your information in there, ways to connect with you. We're looking forward to your book.
Yeah, your book rollout. Sure. We would love to have you back on for that.
Yeah, like we'll have you talk about it when it comes out and do a full expose on what you're doing there. And
I'm also putting up, I have a whole creative writing series called Witching the Art of Words, which I've just I've just managed to turn into an online series. So I'm going to be offering that soon. I've just like 100-page workbook, and like, I've just got to shoot the videos for it. So
that's amazing.
That's cool.
Well, here's a pentacle for your, you know, like send that prosperity to you. Like, let's go. Cause I've been putting together an online class and everything. There's a lot to it. So, you know,
but
that's dope.
All the abundance for you, dude. Like, seriously.
Yeah. I, besides all of the film projects, but you know, I had taught this class numerous times, especially during COVID, and I had one of my students who's now a big time video game person was like, I wish I had a booklet of this. And I was like,
right.
Why has that never like come to me before, you know? And it wasn't like, I don't want to sell
it. Wasn't the time, I guess.
Yeah, I know, but I was like, I can create an online class where it's like, you can always have this, you know, like, there you go. And it's not just for writers. I've had poets and musicians and any kind of creative, because it's all about using esoteric principles to create flow and like how to capture the muse.
And it's going to create, as a practitioner, it's going to create some passive income for you. And I celebrate that 100%.
That's dope. Wonderful. And I think any practitioner who needs to know a little bit more about the craft and empowering themselves, please check out what Scarlett's up to.
Yes.
We will definitely have you on again as soon as we can. Thank you for being with us today. And thank you for watching Walking the Crossroads, people. Please like and subscribe our podcast, become a member of our community. Indeed. And thank you. We will see you again on Walking the Crossroads. Thank you, Scarlett.
Thank you.
Bye, Scarlett. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
All right.